Hi guys, this is Stephanie again. I'm here to do another video review for the book Nourish by Reshma, Shah, and Brenda Davis. I'm going to go into four of the next chapters or sections of the book. The first one is consideration, and then health, home, and heart. So it looks like in consideration, they talk more about the next four sections of the book and how the book is broken down. They have consideration, care, confidence, and connection. Consideration talks about why families should consider a plant-based diet approach, and it talks about how safe it is and debunks a lot of ideas some people may have about it, such as not enough nutrients for the kids and their growth and their mental growth. It will hit on all the benefits as well. The health section talks about the different types of plant-based diets. They say there is no single definition of a plant-based diet, and they give you a chart with all the different types of plant-based definitions, not to create barriers or confusion, but for when you do your research, or you can get the right information for each diet, because you can go on and start to do your research and you might get some information on pescatarian or vegan, but you're trying to do a vegetarian diet, for instance. So the information that you get could be slightly skewed. But when you do your research, you can get the right information for each diet. So if you want to start your children on a pescatarian diet, for instance, so you want to do your research on the pescatarian diet, not just Google or go and start doing your research on plant-based diets, period. Because there's so many different kinds. They go into detail about those, talk about processed vegan foods and how they are not healthy. And it can be based on how much they are processed. For instance, kale chips. You look at the back of the bag, the ingredients would probably just be kale, olive oil, and salt, which is not really processed heavily, right? It's something you can also do at home. You get some kale chips, you wash them. You get some kale, you wash it, you dry it off, rub some olive oil on them, put them in the air fryer, sprinkle some salt on them, you got you some kale chips. So that's not really overly processed. But then you go in and look at the Beyond Meats. That is so overly processed that it's so much stuff added to it that it's not healthy for the body. So we have to pay attention to how the foods that we are putting in our bodies and our family's diet is processed and how much processed it is. Basically, you read the ingredients on the back and there's a long list. And a lot of those words you can't hardly pronounce, or you have to really think hard to pronounce them. It's mostly you would want to just put that back on the shelf. So that's dealing with vegan foods, non-vegan foods, any kind of foods. Anything that you're putting in your body, if you can't read or understand what those ingredients are, that's the mindset that they try to get you to have. And that's the mindset that they want you to teach your children to have, because that is a healthy thought process. This section also talks about how a plant-based diet is good for children's growth and health and the health advantages. And they talk a lot about different studies and the results of these studies. So there's a lot of studies in this chapter. They break down those studies, what they found in those studies, and things like that. So it's a good chapter for research. Actually, this whole book is a lot of good research in it. A lot of studies are in it throughout the whole book. They did a lot of research in this book. So they're not just going off of their knowledge and their expertise, but they're also going off the knowledge and expertise off a lot of people that's in that same field as they are in other fields dealing with nutrition and diet. So it's a really good book. The next section is home. And this section speaks about the impact of a plant-based diet and the environment. So raising livestock for food and how it is the leading cause of deforestation, water depletion, and pollution. This really was interesting to me. I never knew that a lot of the things that are happening in our environment worldwide, a lot of that is caused from how we eat. You know, if we are buying more meat and animal-based products, they need to have bigger factories. They need to push out more, and for the demand, and that demand is so high that a lot of these animals are being pushed more than they wouldn't be in the natural environment. So a lot of places are being torn down and more factories are being built. So that is a big issue. The next chapter talks about the heart. And this topic is a little touchy because it makes a lot of people feel judged and defensive, when actually in this chapter, they just want us to broaden the capacity for compassion. Chapter talks more about animal suffering and cruelty of animals being intensively breeded in terrible, tightly enclosed conditions. Also, it talks about how laws are even put in place when, if we try to expose these places, it would be considered an act of terrorism. Making a decision to help the lives of sentient beings by giving up some of our comforts is one of the biggest hearts that we can have for our environment and for our health. These chapters that I spoke of today are really interesting. A lot of information, a lot of facts, a lot of things to really think about in a more deeper way. And I hope you guys really get into these chapters and take your time with these chapters, enjoy them, learn from them, teach others, and be great. Thank you. Have a great day.